What's going on, everybody? It's Bryce and welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of the clothing brand journey, and if you missed the introduction, absolutely go back and watch that video. It's not mandatory, it's not necessary, but if you want to see exactly what I'm doing here, go watch that video. I'm glad to be moving on to this step because this is where we actually start to begin creating the brand itself. And this is a very fun part for me because you figure out things like the name, the logo, maybe some designs here or there. You know, we might see what we can do with that. That might be a little bit later on down the road. But this is going to be the branding part. So let's get into it. Okay, so first up, what we're going to do is we are going to have to create a brand name. You cannot be a brand without a name. I've never seen a brand that has no name. It's crazy. Unless the brand's name was no name. But we're not going to go into that right now. So you need a brand name. Starting off, to be completely transparent, I've had a name for a while now. I've tried using the brand name in the past and I haven't done much with it. But now I'm glad I've gotten to this point because the name means so much more to me now than what it did back then. The name that the brand is going to be is, of course, Hidden Virtues. That's going to be the name of the brand, Hidden Virtues. Now, where did that name come from? And this video is probably going to be a little bit longer than the last one because I really want to explain the name. You know, I want to make sure that you guys understand where the name came from, and it also kind of ties into the spiritual aspect I was talking about as well. So this is kind of like the background of how pretty much everything started, spiritually wise, clothing brand wise, everything. I want to explain to you where Hidden Virtues comes from and what Hidden Virtues means to me. So if I want to take you guys all the way back to the beginning. Before this part of my life, I was not a spiritual person at all. You can consider one to be religious, but spiritual, definitely not. And there is a difference between the two. If you guys don't know, there is a difference between the two. They're not the same. So I had gone into business with a group of friends of mine, and they were a lot more spiritual than I was. So they would talk about things and I would just kind of, just be lost. I have no idea what y'all talking about, but I'll be a part of the conversation, I guess. Like, I'll listen. And I just wasn't that guy. I just wasn't a spiritual person. So I didn't have, much input on the conversations that I was having. But one day during our, one of our meetings, one of my friends goes, "Hey, I found these tapes and I truly believe that this is the secret of the universe. Like, this is the secret to life, the secret to get what you want. And I think we all need to listen to these tapes so we can all be on the same page." And he was talking about how he went to some like group meeting or seminar, it might have been. He saw somebody and, he had all the nice cars, nice clothes, very clean. He just looked like that guy. The dude said that the tapes that I'm about to explain to you, which are called Your Wish is Your Command, he was like, listen to these tapes. These tapes changed my life. So as he's saying this to me, as my friend is saying this to me, he was like, and the crazy part is about these tapes is they always keep taking them down. No matter where they're posted, eventually they'll be taken down. They were on YouTube, they got taken down. They were here, they got taken down. So I'm thinking, like, why are they always, taking these things down? So I was like, yeah, like, send me the tapes. I want to listen to it. I want to see what these tapes have to say. And so he sends the tapes, and they're on Spotify. So I'm like, if they always get taken down, why would you put them on Spotify of all places? Like, obviously, if someone's gonna find that and take it down. But no, the person who put it on Spotify hid them within Spotify. It wasn't like a tape called Your Wish is Your Command. It was like a tape called like Law of Attraction or something like that. And then they had 12 tracks underneath that. Where the tapes were, they were underneath those 12 tracks. So for someone to find that, they would have to miraculously come across these Law of Attraction tapes and listen throughout these tapes and get to like the 12th or 13th tape. And that's when the tapes actually started from there down. So the tapes were hidden within Spotify. The tapes were by someone of the name of Kevin Trudeau. Give me a second. This guy right here, Kevin Trudeau. I think that's how you say it. He's the one who started these tapes, who made these tapes, right? And the thing with Kevin is he was in the Brotherhood. And if you guys don't know what the Brotherhood is, it's a secret society. And so within these tapes, he was talking about the information that they share between secret societies. And not like, Illuminati, like devil worshiping, like creepy shit. Like, no, nothing like that. Just information that they share within societies. I'm glad I came across these tapes first before I did anything else, because these tapes, he explains the science behind it all. Long story short, the science part. And if you guys want me to go into more detail about the spiritual aspect of it on other videos, like make separate videos about the spiritual aspect or my spiritual journey, more than happy to do that, because I could talk about this all day. But long story short, on the science of it all, is that everything in the universe is made up of atoms. There's no questions about that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's unanimous. Everything is made up of atoms. And these atoms are vibrating. And everything in this world is vibrating at a certain frequency. So everything is made up of atoms, but the reason that we see things differently is because the atoms are constructed differently and put together differently. And so they become different things. Everything is made up of the same things, which are atoms, and these atoms are vibrating. So the way the universe works is like attracts like. He talks about your emotions. Emotion means energy in motion. Everything is energy. Emotions are just energy in motion. So, for example, like I said, it's just long story short. Let's say you are feeling happy. In your body, you're giving off happy energy. You're vibrating happiness. The universe has to match that vibration with something else that's going to be compatible with that happiness. So if you're vibrating happiness, the universe is going to put things into your life that give you that same vibration. Now, the universe doesn't know the difference between good emotions and bad emotions. So if you're vibrating worriness, let's say you have a whole bunch of bills you got to pay for and your check just isn't enough and you're worried about how you're going to get these things paid, the universe does not know the difference between good emotions and bad emotions. If you are vibrating worry, the universe, it's a law, it has to match that vibration, and it will continue to bring things into your life that will make you worried. But like I said, it does not know the difference between good and bad. It's just going to give you whatever you're putting out. So whatever you put out, that's what you get back. That's what that means, right? Me hearing these tapes and hearing the science behind it all, I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, interesting. Like that definitely scientifically makes sense. And he talks about how, Einstein lived off the same process, the same thought process. Ben Franklin, all of the most successful people in the world have lived off this process. He mentions like quotes from all these different people. They're saying different things, but they're saying the same thing, if that makes sense. They're saying the same thing, just in different ways. I'll put it that way. Same thing, but just in different ways. Then he was like, literally, everyone lives by these principles. And this is the information that is shared within these societies that they want to keep within the society. So that's why you never know what they talk about in the societies, because they want to keep it within each other, right? That's why he said, this is why it's a secret, because the people who are in the societies, obviously they're rich, they have power, everything, and they don't want competition because they know how easy it is to be successful. But they don't want the general public to realize how easy it is to be successful just based on how the universe works. Now, when I say universe, I'm not taking God out of it. I want you guys to understand that God is the creator of the universe. So God created the universe, and the universe works this way. I'm not taking God out of it. God is always there. He has to be, because he created the universe. So, but that's how the universe works, right? And so pretty much what he's saying is you have to keep these certain emotions and positivity about yourself to attract those same emotions and same positivity. So if you're thinking, thank you, thank you, thank you, and you're giving out that emotion, there are more things that are going to come into your life, come into your physical reality that allow you to say, thank you, thank you, thank you, because that's what you're radiating. But you have to radiate it strong enough and long enough for it to come to you. You know, it's not like you can be on and off, because that's not how it works. You have to hold it long enough, it's like a magnet, for it to get to you. And so he's explaining these things, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening, right? And one of the things he said at the beginning was, leave your ego at the door and come in with an open mind. If you think you know everything, this is not for you. Forget everything you know and just listen to what I'm telling you. And he said, you can listen or you cannot listen. But if you listen, I guarantee you that you'll benefit something from it. So I'm just, I'm sitting here like, well, I mean, I got nothing to lose, so I might as well listen to him. And as he keeps going, it makes more and more sense. And I'm just like, man, like, this is actually making sense. And so I'm thinking to myself, right? Okay, so what if I start implementing some of these things that he's talking about into my life? What's the worst that can happen? And I thought about it. And the worst that can happen is you just figure out ways to feel better. That's the absolute worst thing that can happen, is you figure out ways to feel better. So if that's the worst thing that can happen, shit, I'm for it. Like, screw it. Like, let's do it. Like, I'm in. So I listened to these tapes. They were taken down, by the way. Very fishy. They were taken down again, but I listened to them before they were taken down, luckily. So I'm listening to these tapes, and there's like 13 tapes. They're each like an hour long. Like, these are long tapes, but it's almost like watching a show for me, like you get into a certain point, you're like, whoa, like this is good. Like, I want to know what happens next and what happens next. I sent them to my sister too, and it was the same way. She's like, wow, like this is good. Like, I just want to keep listening. So I finished these tapes, and I'm scrolling through TikTok, and I come across this guy named Daryl Anka. And his whole thing is that he channels an entity that is more intelligent than us, obviously, from a different realm or reality. And when he channels this entity, the entity kind of talks to people. People can ask it questions, and it will tell them how like you're supposed to live and how life actually works and how the universe works. Obviously, very fishy from the jump, right? So like, you mean to tell me that you're channeling an entity from a different reality that is supposed to tell us how life really works? So obviously I have questions. But one of the first things I hear him say, not one of the first things he says, but one of the first things I hear him say is, whether you believe in Bashar, which is the entity's name, my fault. The entity's name is Bashar. So he says, whether you believe Bashar is real or not is irrelevant. You don't have to believe he's real. You don't have to believe I'm telling the truth. You don't have to believe any of that. But at least listen to the words that he's saying. So I'm hearing, okay, like I can think it's bullshit as long as I listen to what he's saying, I should get something from it. Funny enough, right? And this is just after I listened to Kevin. Funny enough, this Bashar is saying exactly what Kevin was talking about. So I'm like, okay, very, very interesting. Like, couldn't be real. Like, if he's not real, he's not real, but the message is still the same. But if he is real, and he is, a more intelligent being than humans in a different reality, and he's saying these exact things that Kevin was saying, which he said he learned in secret societies, there's no such thing as coincidences. This is what I found out doing within this journey. There's no such thing as coincidences. And that would be a crazy coincidence if that was the case, right? I'm sitting here and I'm watching all these Bashar videos on how life works and everything like that. And he's also talking about emotions. But one of the things that he really preaches on is acting upon your passion and following your excitement. His big thing is, in life, you always have a choice. One choice might be more exciting to you than the other. The reason why it is more exciting to you is because your pretty much your oversoul, like you have you, then your soul, like your higher self, is trying to lead you in the right direction. So the easiest way I can put it is to this. Imagine you have your higher self sitting on top of a mountain, and it can see you at the bottom of the mountain. It's trying to direct you where to go. The way it's trying to direct you is by throwing things in your way that are exciting to you to lead you to the right path. So what he was saying is you have a choice. Like you always have a choice, and one choice is going to be more exciting than the other at all times. Follow that choice. Don't worry about how it's going to get you to where you want to go. Don't worry about any of that. Just know that that's your higher self saying, hey, go this way, and trust your higher self, because your higher self is you. So obviously, if your higher self is you, you're going to want to lead yourself to where you want to end up in life. You're not going to screw yourself over, essentially. No. So trust in your excitement, and trust that your excitement is your higher self telling you where to go, right? He talks about that. He talks a lot about emotions too, and controlling your emotions and how your emotions work. Like I said, same thing as Kevin. And so after that, I just do a whole bunch of research to see if let's see if I can find, anything else or anybody else that might teach me a little bit more. So that's when I run into a guy named Bob Proctor, right? And some of you may know who Bob Proctor is. Some of you may not know who he is. But he's a very, very successful man. And he always talks about ways to be successful, or how to be successful, especially with thinking in your mind and using your mind, because your mind is such a amazing power that you don't realize that you have. And your brain and your mind are completely different things. In my head, I see it as your brain is a physical thing, and then your mind is like an energetic field surrounding your brain. So that's what I think the mind really is, that gives off signals. So he kind of talks about the mind and how your mind will lead you wherever you want to go. And so while he's talking, he brings up somebody by the name of Earl Nightingale, and how he said he listened to this one tape by Earl Nightingale. It's like a 30-minute tape, also on YouTube. I can also put the link to that in the description if you guys want to check that out. But he said he listened to this tape every day. And the tape pretty much consists of Earl Nightingale saying, you are what you think about. You become what you think about. So that's pretty much the entire tape, and how men and women don't know how to think properly, or they don't use their minds to the extent. Because he says, for every study ever says that humans only use 10% of their brain, which is, I've heard that before. I was like, yeah, I've definitely heard that before. He's like, because they don't use their mind correctly for what it's actually there for. I'm listening to these tapes, and while I'm also watching Bob Proctor, and Bob Proctor said that there was one book that really, really, really changed his life, which was Think and Grow Rich. So I have the audiobook, and I'm listening to that book, and it's really, really opening my eyes to exactly how I've been thinking in the past versus how I need to be thinking. Like, we as humans we're programmed to think negatively. So that's why it's so hard to think positively. And you might think you're thinking positively, but subconsciously you're thinking negatively. But that's just how we were programmed. So that's why it's so hard for humans to get out of this negative state and move into this positive state, is because we were just programmed from the start to think negative by the system, by the world. The things in this book, what he's talking about is have a chief aim, whether that be your passion, or if you're not truly passionate about anything, like me, like I was saying in the first video, have a goal. Be goal oriented and stick to that goal until you see it all the way through. And one of the things he says is you have to see it all the way through. Quitters never win, and winners never quit. He said, write that shit down in big ass letters. Quitters never win, and winners never quit. As long as you don't quit, you see it all the way through, you keep your goal ahead of you, and you think positively about it, and you work towards your goal every single day, take one step at a time every single day, don't worry about how things are going to happen or things are going to pan out. Just know that you doing that, everything you want is going to come to you. The universe will give it to you. So I started off listening to Kevin and Bashar on the emotional. They talk more about the emotional sides of it, the emotions and your energy. And then with Bob and Earl Nightingale and Napoleon Hill with this book, Think and Grow Rich, they talk about more of how you should be thinking and how your mind should be working and how it will be beneficial for you and how the universe will bring you things based on the things that you're thinking about, right? So it's almost like your mind is soil. You plant a seed in it. It could be good, it could be bad. You could be thinking, like I said, thinking about worrying about bills, but you plant that seed and your mind and your subconsciousness is going to bring things into your reality that makes you become more worrisome. Or you can plant something good and say, hey, I want to start thinking about my future and where I want to go with my life. And I want to achieve this goal. And you plant that seed and your subconsciousness will eventually receive that and then start bringing things into your reality that help you get towards that goal, right? So you don't have to know how things are going to get done. You just have to plant the right seed. Just like the universe doesn't know the difference between good and bad, your mind does not know the difference between good and bad. It will grow whatever you plant. So just like real soil, if you want to grow poison, the soil is not going to say, hey, this is poison. I can't grow this for you. It's going to say, oh, okay, you want to grow poison? Let's grow poison. Or if you want to grow flowers, let's grow flowers. Doesn't matter what it is. Whenever you plant that seed, that's what is going to grow. That's kind of why I feel like I'm here, is because I've been so confused on, what's really my passion? What am I really passionate about? I don't have anything passionate like that I can do. Like I'm not passionate, like truly passionate about anything. So that's when I figured out, okay, I can become a goal person. So that's why I chose to pick this goal, because like I said, I like clothes. I like sweatshirts. I like sweatpants. I want to create a brand of sweatpants, sweatshirts, just clothes in general, and I want it to be one of the best. And so that's going to be my goal. And I'm going to think positively about that goal and work towards that goal every day until I get there. And I'm not going to stop. Either I get there or I die trying. But that's what it means to be successful, is someone who has a goal and is working towards that goal. That's what being a successful person is. You are successful as soon as you know what you want and you decide to work towards it. You are successful at that point. Someone who does not know what they want to do or where they're going, they're not successful. They're not a successful person. Another example he gave as well was, think about it, if you're on a ship, right? And that ship has a crew and the captain knows exactly where that ship is going and the exact destination it's headed to. 9 times out of 10 is going to reach that destination because it knows exactly where it's going. But if you're going on a ship that has no captain and there is no destination, you have no idea where you're going. You're not going anywhere because you don't know where you want to go. So you're just going to be sitting there floating. You have no destination. But once you pick that destination and work towards it, you are a successful person. So ever since I sat down with myself and said, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to start a clothing brand and I'm going to do it. Life has kind of changed in a way, not drastically, but I see I'm happier. Like I know what I want to do now and I'm working towards it. There's no confusion about it. There's no, oh, well, maybe I should do this instead. No, I'm doing this and I'm working towards it. And that's what you guys have to do. And think positively about that goal. Believe in yourself, have no doubt, because once doubt creeps in, that's what gets you. It's the doubt. You have to have complete faith that this is going to work out the way it's going to work out. Faith in God, faith in the universe, faith in everything. You have to have faith that everything is going to work out. Now, it might not work out when you want it to work out, but it will always work out when you need it to work out. I'm learning all of these things, and to tie it all together, essentially, right? Hidden virtues. Like I said, as humans, we are supposed to be feeling the good emotions at all times, whether that be gratitude, joy, love, whatever it may be. We are supposed to be feeling those emotions. That's how we're supposed to be living. Those are supposed to be our way of living, our virtues, right? But we're programmed to think differently, to put labels on things, to put negative stamps on things that have no meaning, right? There's always two sides to the coin. You can look at something negatively and get a negative thing from it, or you can look at something positively and get a positive thing from it. It's all depending on how you choose to look at it. Hidden virtues is, these virtues, these things that we're supposed to live by and we're supposed to be feeling 24/7, we're not feeling them. It's because we have programmed ourselves to feel negative emotions when we're not supposed to. We're not supposed to feel those emotions. That's not what we're here for. But we put labels on things, we put negative connotations on things, and then we get those negative emotions from that. That's the hidden virtue. Like, that is the hidden virtue. Like, it's hidden in us. We just have to find it ourselves. But the only way you're going to be able to find it is if you yourself look far enough deep inside you to be able to find it. Only you can pull it out of yourself. Put it that way. Only you can find it inside yourself. So until you do that, those virtues will remain hidden. But we have to get those virtues out of there so you can experience life for what it really is. So hidden virtues means a lot more now than what it did back then for me. And it's probably going to end up meaning even more as I get further and further along in this journey, spiritual journey, and hopefully you guys can, come along with me on that as well. So, like I said, if you guys want me to really dive into more detail about everything I've been learning spiritually, and I think you guys would really benefit from it, let me know and I will create videos just off of this. But I'm still going to incorporate, spiritual stuff within these videos here, and, how to think and, how to use your mind. So that's where the name comes from. And that is the name, Hidden Virtues. I think it's a fire name. Getting it trademarked, everything, that's the name. Like, that is the name. So we have our brand name, Hidden Virtues. All right, guys, that's actually going to be it for this video. I wanted to get into the design section of everything, but I want that to be a little bit more detailed so I can show you guys exactly what I'm doing. And this video is already pretty long with everything I've explained, kind of the history. So this will be the last video that I kind of go into real detail about the spiritual side of everything, and everything coming up next will be clothing. So the next video will be, me getting my logo, and same process with the design, everything like that. So stay tuned, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.